Afternoon tea traditionally consists of 3 courses: savories, scones, and desserts. But if you just have tea and scones with clotted cream and jam, you're actually having what's known as a cream tea. Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Sonia. Thanks so much for stopping by. As it happens, National Cream Tea Day in the UK is coming up. It's always the last Friday in June. And I thought I'd show you a quick way to have your own celebration at home. First, we're going to make an abbreviated version of clotted cream. Now, I call it abbreviated because it's made in half the time. So all you need is 250 milliliters or 8 ounces of heavy cream and about 25 grams or 2 tablespoons of butter. Now I'm going to put the cream in this medium saucepan on about low to medium heat. You know, in the U.S. it's a challenge to find anything but ultra-pasteurized cream. I mean, it does exist, but it's just not so readily available at your corner grocer. But this method works with that too, and in fact that is what this is, ultra-pasteurized cream. Now to this I'm going to add the 25 grams, or about the 2 tablespoons of butter. Mine happens to be unsalted. If you have salted butter, that's okay, but I prefer to work with unsalted butter because then that way I can control the amount of salt I have in a recipe. So I'm going to cook this down on low to medium heat, stirring frequently so it doesn't burn. But you want sort of a hearty simmer. That's what you're aiming for. So I'm going to turn this up just a little bit to get it going. And I'm going to cook this down to about 1/3, maybe even half. You want it a good thickened consistency. And that's going to take about 20, maybe even 30 minutes. This is an abbreviated method because the original method to make clotted cream is pouring cream that's not ultra-pasteurized in a shallow dish and putting it in a very, very low oven on probably the lowest degree you can get. And you leave it in your oven for 12 hours. And then the next day, because it's easier to make that overnight, take it out of the oven and then cool it down for another 12 hours. And that gives you clotted cream as it is made the old-fashioned traditional way. And it's a beautiful product. You have a wonderful product afterward. But I don't have 12 hours. I don't want to have 12 hours. I don't want my oven on that long. And when I came across this abbreviated version, it's very, very good. It's not going to be exactly the same thing. It's just not. But it is a wonderful substitute. And I think it's a very close second. And it's probably very much like what you will get if you're buying it in a store in a jar, 2 or 3 ounces for $8. It's very expensive here. So I prefer to make it on the stovetop myself, and it's just fine. So it's been about 10 minutes, and although it's still thin, I'm beginning to feel it thicken up a little bit, and I'm also beginning to get that wonderful kind of sweet, nutty aroma that comes from cooking cream like this. It's such a nice smell. Okay, now it's been about 15 minutes, and it is much thicker than it was. Still thinner than I want, but we're getting there. Okay, it has been just shy of 20 minutes, and honestly, I think we're there. See how it coats the back of the spoon? And it is so much thicker. It's almost like a custard. And I think we're done. I'm going to let it cool just a couple of minutes, and then we're going to pour it up into the jar that will go into the refrigerator. Now here we go. Now I'm going to let this sit here for just a minute, and then it'll go in the fridge overnight to set up, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Okay, welcome back. Well, we made our abbreviated version of clotted cream yesterday, and I'll show you in a minute how well it turned out. It's beautiful. So today we're going to make a quick recipe that I believe is a classic from Australia. It's called lemonade scones. If you need easy, it doesn't get any easier than this. This recipe only contains 3 ingredients. So I've already got my oven preheating because these scones call for a hot oven. It's at 430 degrees Fahrenheit, that's 220 degrees Celsius, gas mark 7. Okay, in this bowl I have 2½ cups or 300 grams of self-rising flour. Now if you don't have self-rising flour, you can make your own. I'll put all that information in the description box below. Now I'm going to add to this flour 125 milliliters or ½ cup of heavy cream, and 125 milliliters or ½ cup, in this case, 7-Up. Now these are called lemonade scones, but this isn't American lemonade like Minute Maid or Country Time that we make with water and lemon juice and sugar. Lemonade in the UK and Australia and New Zealand refers to a citrus-flavored carbonated drink. In other words, 7-Up, Sprite, Squirt, even ginger ale. It's not going to be lemon lime flavor, but ginger ale would work too. Any of that will work, regular or diet, because you're looking for that carbonation. You want to mix this until combined. Okay, I'm going to get my hands in here now. What you don't want to do, of course, is overwork your dough. You never want to overwork scone dough because it will make them tough. But you just want to do enough to sort of bring all this together. Okay. Now, I'm going to flour my counter here. And dump this out. And you just want to bring it together very gently. You know, you're not really kneading. This is not bread. You're not going to roll it out like pie dough. You're just going to kind of bring this together and then pat it down to about 1 inch thick. If you want to use a rolling pin, you can. I kind of like a rustic scone, so I don't typically use a rolling pin. Okay, I think that's about 1 inch, about 2½ centimeters thick. So I have with me here now a 2-inch or 5-centimeter cutter. I'm just going to go straight down. Remember, don't twist as you go down, because you don't want, see that layering right there? You don't want that to be mashed by twisting your cutter, because that can affect your rise. And I have here a parchment-lined baking sheet. I'll show you in just a minute what this looks like. I'm dusting my cutter, the edge of my cutter sometimes, in my flour, my excess flour over here, because that will make it less sticky in trying to get these scones out. Okay, so let's, you're not really re-rolling this, you're just kind of pulling it all together. I think this 2-inch cutter size is really perfect, especially for tea. Since it's a cream tea and you're not having any other treats, you could certainly go larger. But I kind of like a smallish scone. This is how many scones we got. Now I'm going to put these a little closer together where they're just barely touching. because that should help them rise a little better, a little straighter. There's my little guy. I'm going to put him on there too. Okay, now on the top, I'm going to brush just a little bit of beaten egg yolk. You could do milk if you don't have an egg or you don't want to waste an egg. You could do a little cream or a little milk. It just kind of helps them have a little more color. Okay, now these are going to go in the oven for about 15 or 20 minutes. And our scones are ready. Oh, look how these turned out. Beautiful. Oh, beautiful golden color on top. They've risen really well. Even this little guy here did a nice job. Whew. I don't have asbestos fingers, but I'll try to get one of these out for you to see. Look how beautiful those rose. I mean, and see that crack right there? Can you see that crack right there? That is where you're going to be able to break that scone in half perfectly clean without the use of a knife. And that's what you're looking for. Along with that, here is our clotted cream. Overnight, it did just fine. It's set up perfectly. It's very thick. I wonder, I might have gone a little long in cooking it. Instead of 20 minutes, maybe I could have gone 15, but either way, it is still perfect. So now that we have our beautiful fresh baked scones and our clotted cream, let's go have a cream tea. Perfect. Twinings, Earl Grey. Always love that. These scones turned out beautifully. The clotted cream turned out beautifully. This is what you would have for a cream tea. Scones, clotted cream, jam, and your tea. And that's it. So let's see how these break open, shall we? Beautiful, beautiful. That's exactly what you want in a scone. You don't have to use a knife except to spread on the clotted cream and jam. So let's do that. Jam first, then the cream. That's the Cornish way. Cream first, jam on top. That's the Devonshire way. Let's try. That is so good. Well, I have to try the other one now. The one with the cream on top. Oh my goodness. Both ways are good. By the way, National Cream Tea Day is a day that's not only meant for you to host your own cream tea, but it's also a day in the UK that they use to raise money for charities and other worthy causes. So it's actually a way to enjoy two wonderful things. I hope you'll try these recipes, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more afternoon tea videos. Until next time, bye-bye.